Hi, my name is Megan and I've been making interactive installations for over 15 years. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a completely custom koi pond for your event or your party or for your school. It's really easy to do this. It's a very cool type of installation that you can put pretty much anywhere. The equipment that I'm using can all be sourced locally, and you can use a lot of used equipment to create an installation like this. I'll link to everything that I'm using in this installation in the description, so if you want to try it yourself, you can. And if you have any questions, you want to do this and you're not sure how to get started, you can reach me at info@lumoplay.com. This interactive floor has a couple different elements. There are the fish, which are completely customizable. You can make them any color you want. You can make them any size you want. You can have them behave any way you want. And there is the background. There's also a foreground mask that gives the ripple effect on top, but the fish can swim underneath it. And then there's a border around the entire edge, which gives the entire experience some depth, so the ripples don't affect the very edge of this experience. The ripples themselves are also highly customizable, so you can choose how you want them to behave and what you want them to look like. And there's audio, so if you want to have ambient water sounds or ripple sounds as people move, you can also add those. I'm going to show you how I prepared the graphics for this, and then I will take you over to my LUMOplay design studio and show you how to put the graphics into LUMOplay so you can create an effect like this yourself. All of my working files will be available in the description, and again, if you have any questions, you're welcome to reach out. So preparing graphics for an interactive koi pond is very, very simple. I have imported an image that I wanted to use into Photoshop and then put different elements of it on layers. So I'll get rid of the background layer so I can show you. There's just a very thin blue line around the edge here, and then that is not going to be affected by any of the interactivity. So that's just going to sit right on top of the effect and not have ripples affected or fish swim over it. And then I have my next layer is going to go underneath the water effect but over top of the fish. So the ripples will affect this border, but the fish will be able to swim underneath it. And then for my last layer, I bought a background image that just goes along with this. Now I wanted this effect to look kind of like a real rug, so there's no animated elements on this rug, but you can have video in your background. So if you wanted to add a bit of a caustics effect or create something where the waves are actually moving, you can definitely do that. I'm going to link to the full written tutorial for this template so that you can see what the asset requirements are and what kind of compression that you need to use if you're going to use a video background. Now with all of these graphics completed, I just take one at a time and save it as a PNG with that transparency. It's very important that when you design your experience, it is at the resolution of your final display. The floor display that I'm using is 1980 by 1200, and that is the size of this composition. If you design it at a different aspect ratio or resolution than your final installation display, you may have unexpected results. So definitely make sure that you're aware of what your projector's display is. Now let's go over to my design computer and we will put this all into LUMOplay and you can see what it's going to look like when you actually make this. When you launch LUMOplay, you're going to want to go to the Motion Maker section, which is where all of our templates live. So go into Motion Maker and select the template that you want to use. In this case, you're going to be using the fish pond template. Click Create, and it will take over your entire screen. The first thing I'm going to do is turn the ambient audio all the way down so that I don't have to listen to that rippling sound and it doesn't make me feel like I have to pee. The second thing that I'm going to do is name my effect. So in this case, I want to name it Fish Rug. And I will be putting this on the website, so if you want to test it out, you'll be able to download it from the app library within the next couple weeks. The first layer that I'm going to add is the top layer. It will be a mask. It's not interactive. the overlays that are in this section do not interact with motion except for the idle image. The idle image is where you would put a call to action. So if you wanted words that said "step on this pond" to appear and then disappear when people step on the pond, the overlay section is where you would put that. For this effect, I'm just going to put the mask, which is the very thin line. Again, I'm using a computer that is set to the same resolution as my floor. That's really important. If you don't do that, then you may end up with something that doesn't look the same as it looked when you were designing it. From the overlays, I'm moving on to the background, and I'm going to choose the background image that I made for this effect. So that will immediately replace the background that was in there. Again, if you want to, you can put a video in this section, but definitely check out what the requirements are for that, because if your video is too big, it's not going to work. And then I'm going to add the underwater foreground, which is basically the border that I want the fish to swim underneath. So if I test this, you can see that the ripples go on top of this border, but the fish will swim underneath it. So that just gives your experience a little bit more depth. Now going back to the audio, I'm okay with the splash volume being a little bit higher or a little bit lower. I don't want it to be too high because it's quite jarring unless you have that ambient sound to go with it, and then they kind of go together. But for my effect, I don't want to have the ambient sound in the background. And then I'm going to go in and change the color of the fish. So I want the fish to kind of match this background. Again, what I'm looking for here is something that looks like it could be a real rug until you notice that parts of it are moving. So the main color, instead of this sort of light yellow or yellow-white, I'm going to change that to more of a blue color. And I'm going to change this default color to a darker blue, and then I think I'll leave the black as is. So now the fish kind of blend in a little bit to the background. Again, you can change these colors any way you want to. So you can adjust it to match your effects and make it look exactly how you want it to look. I can also change things like the size of the fish. So if I want really tiny fish, if I want all the fish to be the same size, if I want them to swim away really, really quickly, this is their normal speed, and then this is the speed that they swim away at. So if I want to turn the normal speed down so they're very slow, and then you really get a noticeable swim away, I can do that. I'll turn the size back up so you can see it a little bit better. I can also increase the number of fish. So if I want a whole bunch of fish on there, I can just keep adding more. I'm going to reset all of this because I like the defaults. For the ripples, I really like to have less intense ripples in some of my effects because I like that sort of more ambient, less extreme interaction. So this is a lot of ripples on top of each other. I'm going to decrease my density so that it's just a few ripples, and I'm also going to turn the intensity down. You can test this with a mouse as you go if you don't have a touch screen. We'll turn this size down as well. There. So now I just have very subtle ripples. And the last thing that you affect in this template is the shadows. The shadows are really just there to give the fish a little bit more depth. And the thing that works the best, I find, is to match the shadows to the color of the background to make sure that it looks like a realistic shadow like you would have if the fish were really swimming on top of this rug. So that's it. And now that I'm done, I'm going to click save and close this. and it will create a little thumbnail for me, and all I need to do is hit publish and upload this, and I'll be able to access it from any of my installations. I've already made this app once before, so I'm not going to click publish again, but if you do click publish, you will be warned that once your app is published, you can no longer edit it. So just be sure that when you hit this button, you're ready to produce your final app. Don't produce it until you're ready. If you need to test it before you publish it, you can connect the computer that you're designing on to a projector and project it on the floor and test it that way, so you can see exactly what the final result will be before you publish it. Or you can get a LUMOplay maker license, which is what I'm using here, and that will allow me to publish as many custom apps as I want to without any additional fees. If you're using Lumo Playground, you can still do this, but there's a fee each time you publish something custom. Thank you for joining me for this week's tutorial. I really hope you enjoyed it. Making koi ponds is one of my favorite things to do. Any sort of water feature where there's ripples and animals, I love working on those types of projects. So I hope that you got a lot out of this and that you're going to try making an interactive koi pond yourself. Again, feel free to reach out or leave a comment if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them. And if you have a moment, if you're enjoying this content, please like and subscribe. I put out a new video every week showing you how to choose hardware, how to install, how to make your own custom content for interactive displays. And this is really the only way that I market the software that my friends and I make. So any amount of engagement really helps us a lot, and it helps us keep our prices down so that this type of experience is extremely affordable for schools and not-for-profits who want to put it in places like waiting rooms and sensory labs and schools. So again, I really hope that you enjoyed this, and I will see you again next Tuesday with another tutorial.